Hey, everyone! Today we're going to talk about the main transfers for Manchester United for the upcoming season. I'd like to ask you, who are watching this video, to support the channel by subscribing to help us keep bringing you the latest news from the world of football. Thanks for your support, and let's get into the video. Out of the next edition of the Champions League, United is now experiencing a phase of change with the renewal of Erik Ten Hag, who is now betting on the arrival of younger players to get back on the path to victory. First of all, talking about the current Manchester United squad, it's far from being a bad team, but it's also not strong enough to suddenly compete in the Premier League against Arsenal or Manchester City. Compared to these other teams, United is still behind. As I mentioned in the introduction, they didn't even secure a spot for the next Champions League season. Of course, this affects the team in terms of planning and revenue. So, what United needs to do is to gradually get things in order and slowly climb back up, and then, naturally, in 3 or 4 seasons, become a team that can once again compete for a Champions League title because United has plenty of prestige and structure. Let's start talking about Manchester United's reinforcements, beginning with the defensive system, where there's already an official signing. United has signed the French defender Ligt, a player who was even coveted by Real Madrid. The 18-year-old French defender had been standing out for Lille in France. Manchester United paid an incredible €62 million for Euro, and he signed a contract until 2029. He joins Manchester United at a time when, for example, Raphael Varane has left, so an extremely experienced and successful player leaves, making way for a young player hungry for history. In his last season for Lille, Euro played 44 games and contributed 3 goals. The arrival of Ligt should not be the only priority for Manchester United's defensive system, as they are monitoring other defenders. One of them is Matthijs de Ligt, a 24-year-old defender from Bayern Munich. He didn't play as much as expected last season with the German team, and now he might end up making this transfer and moving to the Premier League. De Ligt has a contract there until 2027, coming off a season in which he played 30 games. I always emphasize this point, he has been changing teams quite a bit if you look at his career, but he is still very young, only 24 years old. So, Manchester United is considering him among their options. Another defender also on United's radar, who seems to be more accessible than De Ligt, is the German defender Jonathan Tah. He is 28 years old and was one of the pillars of Bayer Leverkusen's very successful last season. A strong and fast defender, Tah appears more accessible than De Ligt because, while De Ligt is still young and has a contract until 2027, Tah is almost 30 years old and has a contract with Leverkusen only until June 2025. He was also of interest to Bayern Munich, but since negotiations with Bayern did not progress, Manchester United is now entering the race. Now for the midfield, Manchester United is also expected to present new additions soon, especially since, for example, Casemiro is a player who might not stay for the next season. Thus, they are looking for a younger midfielder. Manchester United already has a personal agreement with the Uruguayan midfielder Manuel Ugarte. He is 23 years old, a player for the Uruguayan national team, and also for PSG, having joined PSG last season. United already has an agreement with him regarding salary and contract duration, and the player himself is interested in leaving PSG to play for United, even with United out of the Champions League. United is advancing in negotiations for the player and now needs an agreement with PSG, which insists on €70 million to release Ugarte. He played 37 games for PSG last season and contributed 3 assists. Despite being a starter in the French Championship games, he was always a substitute in the most important games of the season, which were in the Champions League. Sure. Here is the translation. And now, wrapping up the midfield and moving on to the attack, we have a player who was a standout for the Netherlands in the Euros and catches the eye of Erik Ten Hag. I'm talking about the 21-year-old midfielder Xavi Simons, who shone in German football last season playing for Leipzig but was on loan because he is still a PSG player. He is a player who is unlikely to stay at Parc des Princes for the next season as he wants new challenges and experiences. So, there is a possibility he could stay in Germany but move to Bayern Munich, while Manchester United is also seeking his signing. As I mentioned, Ten Hag really likes his style of play. A young, skillful midfielder, he posted impressive numbers for Leipzig with 10 goals and 15 assists in 43 games last season. These were the latest updates on the English giant. If you enjoyed the video, please like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everyone.